Ready? Here we go.
Okay.
Hey, welcome to the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. We're doing another interview today. We had a great opportunity to interview a senior Scrum Master coach, Krishna Ajjampur. He's from Bangalore, and we're going to sit with him. We're going to talk to him a little bit. We're going to learn about him. He's a senior Scrum Master's servant leader that I like to call a builder of Agile Mindset, because I was talking to him the other day.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Again, this is not the classic like job interview thing. This is so that we can get to meet another Scrum Master, Agile Coach, someone in the Agile community. It's like everyone else that watches this show in the same kind of boat. We're not worried about the ones that have been here for 20, 30 years. Maybe one day we'll have some interviews like that. But, who we are as a group of people. And just have him share what he would like to share with the Agile and Scrum world here on 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. So welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Greg.
Yeah, it's great having you. So yesterday I was doing one of my 5 a.m. Mester Scrum shows, and you reached out in a comment that you'd like to do the interview, and then we did a quick Zoom session, right? And
yes,
next thing you know, we're doing this. So what made you want to do this interview?
Okay. Well, actually, I was in fact, I was going through the other Scrum Master who got, I think, interviewed in Auckland, right?
Yeah.
It is
in New Zealand,
in New Zealand, actually.
Edwin.
And in fact, even I also do a lot of Scrum Master interviews. Even I get, in case if I'm looking out for a job, even I too get interviewed by a lot of other senior folks.
Mm-hmm.
But the kind of questions that you asked him, I really liked it. The way that you put some questions like, tell me some of the facilitation techniques that you have used to facilitate some of your Scrum ceremonies, and what you do outside office, or like outside of your office hours with like apart from doing Scrum Master job. I said that really, I felt that what I need to get evaluated and also assess my knowledge on Agile and Scrum with the senior folks like you. I thought so immediately I just sent you a message saying that, hey, even I would like to get interviewed, because I just don't know what the current industry expectations are at this point of time. And I thought, okay, let me try to have a mock interview and just try to evaluate myself and see what are the areas of improvement that I have to do moving forward. And guess what is that I'm good at? Probably, of course, you can evaluate me later on if you want. And that's the kind of questions that you put was really, really apt for a Scrum Master role, and the people who are really looking into for senior Scrum Masters. So that made me to reach you, and then cool. Here we are. The next day, we are taking my interview.
Well, great. Well, I appreciate it. We had a great conversation because we did the Zoom, because I like to kind of have a little conversation before, make sure how things are set up, and just have that initial conversation. So I thought it was great. I'm like, some of the stuff we talked about the other day, I wish we recorded, and I would have loved to have shared it with everybody. So we'll hit some of those points too. Now, Krishna, let's talk about your experience in becoming, I like the type, senior Scrum Master coach. How did you find your way to be a coach? Tell us a little bit about your journey, if you don't mind.
Sure. In fact, being a coach, actually, this is what I personally feel, that you should be really a people-oriented person. And in fact, my journey to this is, I never knew that I had my inherent skills of helping people solve their problems like on their own. And in fact, way back in 2016, 15, 16, I met one of my coach by name Ramnath Kashikar, who is also like working in one of the IT firm for some project-related issues. And then really, while I was discussing with him, and I went to him with a specific kind of a problem, and he tried to ask me some powerful questions, which I normally used to do it with my kids and also with my relatives and also with my other colleagues. Then I said, hey, you know what? You seem to be a coach by yourself, which you don't know about it. Oh, is that so? In fact, I never knew that I had that kind of a skill set. So later on, I started engaging with him a number of times, and we uh, we also go to a lot of meetups with, like especially in Bangalore, there are a lot of agile meetups, and also I did my recent coaching or NLP. I think you've heard of NLP, right? Linguistic programming.
Hmm.
It's one of the NLP Academy has that NLP coach, and so I did my certification there as well. And I felt that I really like to help people. In fact, he is in fact Ramnath is my coach as well as a mentor, and he has. I felt that, hey, you know what, I should really help other people who are in trouble, who cannot solve the problems all by themselves. I think they need somebody who can, like who can help and guide them across. So that's the journey. It started off from 2016 onwards, and that's where I am here. And I love the thing that I do. So yeah, it's because actually a Scrum Master himself is a coach. Actually,
Yeah,
he's a
yeah, they
coach.
are. They forget that little skill. I had the same thing where I was Scrum Master for a while. Got my team. They I didn't need to teach about daily Scrum every day or the ceremonies. They had that down. So my question was, what's the next level? And that was the coaching side, right?
Exactly,
And that's
because I
how.
coach the POs, I coach the management, I coach the team. So
Yeah,
that's the reason Scrum Masters coach. So yeah,
yeah,
that's how my journey is, and
yeah,
still it's continuing. I don't say I'm done with it. It's a lot of learnings
yeah.
that
Oh, it never ends, right? So you
yeah.
mentioned your coaches network, and you kind of mentioned a little bit there. You have some agile groups. And you started your own little network, like you started where you were engaging with other coaches. Why did you start that network, that personal network, and how did you start it? And is it fun? Do you enjoy it?
It's a good question. In fact, I would just try to put this in a different way. Say I have a dollar and you have a dollar,
Hmm.
right? So if we both get together and start exchanging some of the ideas, so we both are going to be valued much more than $2, right?
Hmm.
So how would I start off with, especially with getting into a lot of agile meetups, wherein where a lot of people come in. There are some keynote speakers who come and talk about their past experiences. It's not only with respect to agile, it's respect to like with a lot of things. So how I started off with is, yes, again, my coach Mr. Ramnath is the one who took me to a lot of like meetups, and he made me to network myself with a lot of other people as well. So in that way, I personally feel that sharing is caring is what I personally believe in. So that's when I felt, hey, you know what, getting into and building my own network of coaches, trying to share some of my challenges that I have. And in fact, what I do is, it's not only my challenges, I also hear from their challenges and try to give some of my
Okay.
like perspective as well. So it's really fun because you get to learn a lot of things, because it's not that it's not only my view. In fact, even I try to talk to my other coaches and let them know, what, this is what I did it during the day. Is it
Hmm.
right or wrong? Of course, there's nothing right or wrong, but what could be done? What could have been done better? So I felt that, hey, you know what? Yes, it's really fun, and plus I love to unlearn and learn new things on a daily basis.
So it's
So
so what you're saying is just kind of fun, just learning from other agile coaches, exchanging those thought process. And I would add too. Like past couple of weeks, I've been going to a lot of agile meetups around the world and everything. And I think, like you said, it's a multiplication factor, right? It's not just
mm,
your own experiences. You're gaining from all the experiences, all the other agile coaches and scrum masters and agile people, and it's just kind of magnifying. So that's cool.
mm,
Um,
that's yeah.
cool. So a lot of work for senior scrum master explaining Scrum throughout the organization. Um, on that note, which strategies do you recommend on transforming an agile team? So you got a new agile team, or they've just been formed. Maybe they waterfall before. Maybe they just got together. So any strategy you have for transforming them into this new thought mindset that you just mentioned just a second ago?
Yeah. See, actually, this I just was reading in the internet actually just a few days back, and most of the companies who claim that they're agile, I feel that they're not truly agile. Okay,
Okay.
In fact, according to Deloitte and Toys, who surveyed over about 10,000, I mean, this is what I was just reading it through, more than about 10,000 senior executives. 10% of them said that their organization are following strict agile, and the other senior executives believe that implementing agile will do better financially, for the like for their organization.
Hmm.
So I feel the strategy that I use is for transforming teams, and also for the for the for the organization, is first I would start with, because see, actually, if you have seen, or if you have I think, since you're also an agile practitioner, we have about, as far as I know, more than about 30 to 40 agile practices
Hmm.
that's there in the world. I think we talk about Scrum, we talk about PDD, we talk about business development, BDD, Spotify, less scaled agile, safe, lean, Kanban. So where do you start with? How do you start with when once you're doing an agile transformation? It's just not you throwing up everything to that to the organization. So what, you have so many practices available, choose one. So my strategy would be, I would start off with the senior management. First find out from them, why do you really want to go for an agile transformation, or
Okay.
what are the key problems that you guys have. Okay, are you ready to embrace fail fast? Okay, and what is the outcome that they want to see with respect to transformation? And whenever there's a transformation, the organization will have to take risk. So I try to explain to the, or I know, try to ask these kind of questions right from CEO, the director kind of a level, and see how they respond. Because I have my own list of questionnaires that I ask for. And yes, like when once a senior management is in line with me, and then, hey, what? Yes, we really want to transform. Then what I ask them to do is, hey, what? Why don't you identify? I call this as quote unquote some of the agile champions,
Okay.
which help me or the agile coach in transformation. Because when once we get the buy-in from the top management, it is their next level of people who would help me, or help the coach to do the transformation.
Okay.
So, and in fact, there's a lot of strategy that I use, and I ask them, of course, because when once the management identifies, say, about 5 or 10 key people, right,
Hmm.
and then probably I just get into the room, and of course everybody will be having their own differences, right? And some of them might say yes, some of them might say no, and why yes, why no. Of course, I try to brainstorm that and make sure that all the champions who have been identified from their top management do agree for the do agree for the agile transformation.
So
So
would you say that, I think I heard you asked them why they want to transform into agile, was like one of your first questions, right? And do you ask them like, what are some of the problems you have, and then look at the different agile techniques, frameworks, whatever that may solve those problems they have in their organization? So it gives you that flexibility. Do you do that, or?
yes, I do sometimes. It's
Okay.
just because, see, I like again, it's just not just I'm going to use, because it all depends. It all depends on the kind of conversations I have
Okay.
with like with different people. So yes, and for some of them, yes, I do let them know. I know at the end of the day, what I really insist them is what kind of outcome that you want to see with
Okay.
respect.
You're looking for the
That's the
outcome.
key thing,
You want to
outcome,
confirm you're in
and
sync of what outcome you want to see at the end of this transformation.
exactly.
That is an
So
excellent perspective on transformation. One, find out why, and then what the outcome they're expecting, and find out
exactly,
uh, a good solution or way to journey to get there. I like that. Very good.
yeah, sure,
Um,
and
Go ahead.
yeah. And of course, the things that I also do is I conduct some webinars and plus conduct some sessions.
Okay.
Especially, I'm talking about for the Agile champions, so they know what exactly we are planning to transform for their teams. And when once fully agreed from the top management and
Mm-hmm.
also with the Agile champions, then I always let them. I always propose this. Let's not go with the big bang approach of, hey, you know what, we have the management and also the rest of the people who have agreed for transformation, come, let's go and transform it.
Company
No,
wise.
I always use strategy. Let's go with the very smaller teams,
Okay.
because if the organization says about
See if it really works. Rather, and I like that approach too, because you think about it, doing everything is a very waterfall approach, right?
Exactly.
Taking one team or two teams, getting them in there, see if it fits in their company. I like this. I might take this on one of my shows. So take it where you are experimenting with an agile group in there. Does that group survive in that mindset in the company? Because you may need to change the mindset of the company. Says, I can't make the way you guys had this set up. It's not going to work the way you had currently set up. And here's what we validated. Versus saying the whole company is going to transform. You spend millions and millions of dollars on transforming the company, and it's going to fail. I actually love that. That is an awesome. I think this right there, that idea, and that you can justify the business from a financial standpoint. Right?
Exactly.
Because and let's try it out.
There's no point in you getting into like a big bang approach. So go to smaller teams, see how they perform, and see if they really want to embrace into agile. If they don't want to, because the word of mouth spreads, right?
Right.
And when once some team is really doing good and they're getting good amount of customer appreciations, that return of the ROI is getting increased. Obviously, the word of mouth spreads to other teams. I know what that team is doing something different than what we're doing,
and it makes your job easier. And it makes your job easier as a transformation person. Love it. Okay, so another question. So I was reading I always look at everybody's LinkedIn profile and see what you've done in the past and you wrote an article last fall, and it's called "Hiring in a New Way." What made you write it and why? And I'm just telling you, I'm borrowing the topic. I actually thought of a different way of thinking about it, and it's going to be a future show topic on hiring in a new way, because I was thinking in a different way. But what made you write that article, and why did you write that article?
Again, this is based upon my experience, actually. See, the main reason why I wrote this article was, we have this traditional interview process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody shortlists a resume, some technical lead or a manager will take an interview, and level 1, level 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know how many levels of interviews that we'll be having.
Mm-hmm.
And finally you get an offer letter, hey, you're selected, so and so forth, you get in. And probably at that point of time after you join, the project would have got ended. You would have been asked to work with somewhere else or some other project because you've been given an offer to work. The reason why I wrote that was, rather than somebody interviewing a person and putting him or her in their project,
mm-hmm.
how about you empower the team to choose their person that they want to work with? Okay. So that is the whole thought process behind it. So say, for example, you want to hire a Scrum Master, or you want a developer, or whatever it is. Put the Scrum Master in the different ceremonies that you all conduct with, right? Because you're interviewing a Scrum Master. Because normally when once a Scrum Master interview happens, I think he'll be giving his own story of what happened in the past, how he did it, and of course it goes on for half an hour to 1 hour. Instead of that, put him on the job, right? Of course, he'll be a silent observer. And when you're interviewing a Scrum Master, probably say there is a planning session that's happening, right? Rather than asking how do you do the planning, of course, he'll be having a list of things that he wants to answer. So probably you can question him, like after the planning, when once he gets into that planning session, probably it might be an hour or two or whatever the team takes. So bring him out of the of the room and try to ask him the questions. What are the anti-agile patterns that you saw during the planning sessions? Okay, and also when once so like what happens is the team knows, like in case if the team likes the person the way that he conducted the planning session or whatsoever, so they know whom they'll be working with, right? They know right from day one. Of course, it all depends whether it's going to join or not join. So I felt that if I think I got a couple of few responses. They liked some of my article on that particular thing. It'll be really good to choose your co-worker by
Right.
yourself or by yourself, rather than somebody else choosing for you. How's that?
No, I think that's great. I actually, as you were writing, I was actually recording another idea. You gave me two show topics, just so you know.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
listening, I got two future show topics on there
Mhm.
about that, and I agree with you. I agree with letting
Because you know who will be reporting to us. Say, for example, you're
yeah,
hiring a technical lead or your developer.
hmm
You know what his strengths and weakness are, right from day one.
yeah,
He knows to write this piece of code, and he's good in that. He's not good in this. Probably well before he joins,
yeah,
you know what he's good at and what he's not good at.
yeah.
So later on, you can also, before he joins, you can also come up with the training plan that you want to give him or her. And I think it's really good to empower the team to choose their
And
teammates.
they also say there's also a little bit of a social connection between the team members, right? So can do they try to tell everybody right from day one you're doing it all wrong? I don't know if that's the right way you want to get. Do they enjoy? They're interested in what the work they're doing and see how they are. And I think it goes down to you know uh, workable software over um, documentation, right? Comprehensive documentation. So that is working software. Okay, how well do you work with the team versus let's see your resume, let's see your documentation, let's get into how do you work with the team? Do you ask questions? What do you do, right? So I
Exactly,
love
and
it.
because
We could do a whole show on this topic on why you should let the team come in.
no,
I
I
think
just thought about it a day and then just put
no,
on
that
the
was a
LinkedIn.
great. I think it was a great article. Okay,
Thank
so tell us an interaction you had with a coachee that made you happy. So you were coaching somebody. What happened that made it like one of the reasons why you keep coaching? Because we just don't coach to coach. We coach for a reason. We look for something. Give us an
Yeah,
example of an interaction you had that just like, hey, this is why I'm a coach.
sure. Lots, but one thing that really made me happy was, of course, there are many incidents that made me happy, but uh, my relative's daughter, okay, she's out of the college, of course,
hmm
looking for job, and she doesn't know uh, what goal that she needs to set for herself, okay. And in fact, I did my as I said recently, I think last year or so, I did my NLP coaching, which with respect to NLP, they're going to give you a list of frameworks. In case for goal setting, there's a
hmm
framework. In fact, there is a conflict. They have a certain framework that you can choose.
Okay.
And this girl came to me and said, "Uncle, I just need to set my goal. I don't know what I'm supposed to do,
hmm
and so on and so forth." So there, in fact, it's just like um, it's just like a person who's done his who's a doctor, might be a dentist,
hmm
until he practices, right,
Right.
he'll not be a great coach. So
Right.
I was fresh out of that coaching with respect to NLP, and this I got an opportunity for me to help her. So what I did was I used one of the concept there called goal setting concept. For
hmm
it can be to anybody. So I worked with her. I sat with her about 6 to 8 sessions,
Right.
uh, half an hour session, if not like on a weekly basis. And I try to have a lot of interactions with her on how she needs to set a goal. She, she had something in my mind. I want to work in the US in the next
Right. Right.
6 months. So everybody will be having their own dreams. So there, what they teach you there is, hey, let's set a goal for the next 3 months of what you want to accomplish,
Okay.
and the 6 months, and the 9 months, or 12, or a year. So we did that. I did the coaching sessions for her. She came up with a lot of her ideas of what she
Okay.
wants to do. And 6 to 8 sessions later,
hmm
she came back to me with a good plan. Until this is what I want to do in the
Okay.
next 3 months, and then a week on week on week basis.
Oh, good.
That really I said, okay, my coaching session really helped her.
Good.
And I'm of course I'm in regular touch with her as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, that's one of the incident that I changed somebody else's life to change to have the goal settings for for their career. So that
Yeah.
really made me happy, actually.
I kind of do the same. every once in a while I coach people for a little bit of time, and then I always touch back to see how they're doing and check with them, follow up and how things are going like you do. So that's cool. So you felt good. You helped them set their goals and
Exactly.
continues.
Yeah.
So that
This is
was
a
good.
recent incident that happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So what? And we talked about this too. And you had an interview before, and you said, so what do you think the difference is between Agile and Scrum? Continue our questions. We had a great discussion yesterday. I wanted to record it, but I didn't. I had the recording on because we were just getting to know each other. But tell us
So,
the difference
in
between
fact, yeah,
Agile
yeah,
and Scrum, and let's talk about that. What's your thoughts?
sure, sure. In fact, this is the wrong. If not wrong, like most of the companies or recruiters, they post that on the net. Should have strong knowledge on agile methodology, and they talk about practices that this. And was looking into it. Actually, this is my own. This is my thought about what agile and what is a scrum.
Right.
In fact, if you look into the four manifestos and also the 12 principles of agile,
Mm-hmm.
according to me, it's just a mindset shift change, right? It's
Right.
all about mindset,
Mm-hmm.
interactions, or process, like intelligence interactions or processing tools. It's a mindset, shift change.
Mm-hmm.
So according to me, in one word, agile is a mindset. Okay,
Okay.
and Scrum, according to me, is a process. It is a process framework. There's a set process that the Scrum Guide has provided, and there's also a framework according to that. Okay,
Okay.
this is what we are supposed to have daily standards and backlog refinement 1 week before,
Mm-hmm.
a review and retro. They're given like a framework there,
Mm-hmm.
and plus they're given a small process. So
Mm-hmm.
according to me, Agile is a mindset and Scrum is a process framework. If
Oh,
anybody talks about Scrum is I seen Scrum methodology, Agile methodology, no way, there's no methodology there at
right.
all. It's
So,
all a process framework.
So do you think you can, and I'm going to ask you a follow-up question. So Scrum, you have a Scrum team. What Scrum team is going to be more successful? One with an Agile mindset or one without an Agile mindset?
See, I would say with an agile mindset.
I,
If you don't have an agile mindset, you can never be successful in Scrum. Because
okay.
Scrum is, I don't say it's a subset of agile. I would say it's like what it is because Scrum is one of the framework or like of agile, right? We have
Okay.
scaled agile. So it's
Mm-hmm.
also another framework.
Mm-hmm.
So until that is the base for you, and there's another manifesto which talks about customer collaboration or contract negotiation,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Right, yeah.
Customer will not say, hey, you know what, this is the 6 months pay that I'm going to give it, just get it done. I don't care about how you do it.
Right.
And yeah, it is a mindset. If the customer doesn't collaborate, you will never be able to get succeeded in agile. So
Okay.
it's one word, it's a mindset,
Good.
and it's a process.
Yeah, it can go so many different ways. That conversation itself you can go so many different ways on how you handle it, and so it's a great take. And I like the question because I hear so much. So
Mhm.
in Bangalore, just like other parts of the world, you got power outages, things happen. How do you coach your organizations to handle those unplanned situations? How do you get them ready for that? Because no matter where you are in the world, you can have your environment go down 1 minute and be up another minute. You can have a power outage anywhere. How do you and the COVID-19, right? People are working from remote. You don't know whether or not your kids are going to come running through the room and scream and yell above your head or what. Um, how do you help groups coach organizations to handle that
See,
or
in
teams?
fact, what I tell the organization is, hey, if you're really, really going to strictly follow Agile, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Scrum is the framework that most of them follow. I always let them know, be transparent. Okay, don't hide anything to yourself. In case if there's a power outage for a couple of days, you'll not be able to get the work done. Call it out to the customer. Okay, so transparency, inspect, adapt, and transparency. Those are the three key pillars of Scrum, right?
Okay.
So I let them know if you don't let your customer know of what the pain points that the team is having, you're just trying to uh, really spoil the relationship that the relationship that you have between the customer and also you here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what I let them know is, of course, everybody is going to hardship. It's just not,
Right.
yeah, I know there is a sprint deliverables. We have to meet. We could not meet. Call it out and give them about 2 or 3 pain points that the team had, and let the customer know what your pain points. Even he will also understand, hey, I know that the sprint predictability was not good in the past 2 or 3 sprints.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of issues. Call out those issues rather than talking about the requirements were not clear or team did not understand the acceptance criteria or whatsoever. Let's not go in that route. Call out what the actual facts are, so the customer also know what the facts are, and then he or she can plan his sprints and online on a like moving forward. So because what the product owners think is they'll be having some historical data, right?
Yeah.
So based upon that, they're going to keep the velocity on. Hey, this is what my team is doing. If you don't do it, they'll not, they'll be missing their, what do you say, their the release timeline. So I coach them and let them know, be transparent.
Yep.
Let the product owners know what the pain points the team is going through, and then I think everything will be good. So
No, I think that's great. I think your advice on letting the customer know about these pain points, like, hey, the power out 2 days, let your customer know, if it comes back on in 6 hours or whatever, you don't need to do it. But like if it's like a day, and that's like 10% of your time. You lose 10% on it.
It's a 10-day sprint.
Yeah.
See, if it's a 10-day sprint, and if you lose 2 days, it's 20% of your hours lost.
Yeah.
Where are you going to get it back?
Yeah. How about this to add to that? And this is where you and I are engaging in this conversation. So, and you're making me think, right? This is why we're doing it. So now I'm thinking. So not only do you engage your customer, maybe you sit down and reprioritize what's left in the backlog for that sprint. What do you think about that?
See, yes, of course, this has happened. And what I've asked my team members to do is, hey, you know what? Yes, you had a lot of these challenges because of the COVID or whatsoever, internet outages. So what are the spillovers that you have that comes out from the previous sprint? Try to knock them off in the first week of the sprint rather than carrying forward for multiple sprints.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, yes, you're not able to deliver as per the committed sprint goal. I do agree with that because the team had challenges. Rather than spilling it over to sprint 3, 4, or 5, try to knock them out when once everything is back.
Okay.
Make sure, because what I try to coach my team is, hey, if you have 4 or 5 stories or the issues spill over, make sure that you close that first rather than taking the new ones. Because they would have done about 20 or 70% of the work would have been done and 30 would have been left out. So emphasize on those so that, yes, you were supposed to deliver on Tuesday, the customer got it on Wednesday or Thursday. It's perfectly fine.
And I would,
Agile world,
and I would just confirm with the customer that it's still a priority. Because maybe something on that first thing on that sprint is a lot more priority than something in the last part of the last sprint. You never know. They might have changed the priority. So that's great. Okay. Continuous learning. We talked about learning in what you do and what I do. And has there been a training class or book that you recently read, participated in, that that you applied to your coaching role that you would recommend to people to watch the show?
Oh yeah. In fact, I think I've already answered this in the earlier questions. In fact, I'm a person who always love to unlearn and learn new things.
Okay.
So one thing which I would definitely recommend people who are watching this video is, I'm not marketing NLP here at all, but NLP coaching really helps the Scrum Master or the coach to improvise his coaching skills. So I've done my NLP coaching with one of the good coaches here in Bangalore, and Vikram there. It's almost an intensive course for about 5 days. It happens. So yeah, I think that's one of the courses that really help the Scrum Masters to move ahead and also coach better for the teams.
Okay.
And in fact, I can give you a very small example about conflict resolution in case if you're bothered with something, if you're bothered with me for some reason.
Yeah.
They've given a very good framework that makes you realize of rather than passing the bucks with somebody else.
Okay.
So you would rather realize yourself and try to find the answers within you.
Okay.
So it's really good. I think NLP, people should do.
So when we post up this interview on LinkedIn, definitely comment in the bottom and put some links to it. So put
Sure,
so that way people get to know you, they can connect with you after the show and build that connection with you in your area too, and then they'll learn from more stuff that you have too.
Sure.
As I always say, I don't deny any connections unless basically unless the connection is like a fake connection. You can tell when you see some of these things. It's like a fake persona on the thing. Anyway, cool. Yeah, so definitely when we post this up on Friday, put a comment in there, put a link maybe to that, and then that way everybody else can see the company you're talking about. So that's great. Okay. Sure. With that said, what is your favorite practice? For example, I see in your LinkedIn profile, you write pair programming, TDD, Three Amigos. Is there a good place to start with your teams? Or how would you introduce this? Would you do an experiment or a practice for some?
Actually, those things came up while, of course, it's not something written in black and white that you mustn't do. You mustn't follow pair programming or TDD or whatever. So, in fact, one of the Three Amigos meetings that I really encouraged the team to do was because.
Can you talk about Three Amigo a little bit? Describe what it is.
Actually, what the Three Amigo does is simple. Say you have a complicated story, which involves, it's really complicated, and a lot more discussions needs to happen with respect to the technical architecture, with respect to understanding the stories, and with respect to testing. So what the Three Amigo does is you have a product owner because you have a complicated feature that needs to be developed, and those three people will be closely looped, and they will be working on that particular. They'll be working on developing that complicated feature.
Okay.
You'll be having a technical architect there who will be giving some technical suggestions. You'll be having a senior developer there, plus a tester who are dedicated. That means, and that's the reason why I said Three Amigo. So 3 people or 3 or 4, it all depends upon the number of people. It is that core group who will be working on developing a complicated feature, and those 3 or 4 people will make sure that that feature has been developed amongst themselves.
Okay.
So any of the because of course some of the stories are really complicated, wherein you require high expertise, right, or high technical experts, and probably you might need some lot of like automation testing effort and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So yeah, Three Amigo is what I experimented it worked fine.
So when you see an kind of complicated solution where there may be a lot of questions, and you want a lot more interaction in the team, you would suggest
a lot more interactions. It's just not on the refinement day that they try to refine it. Yeah, they have a closed loop and they try to interact either on Slack or a regular call. So that I introduced it. And of course, pair programming, we all know about it. It's good to develop each other's skills among the developers so they both work on the same code.
Yeah, I introduced Three Amigos, one of my teams years ago. And they loved it. The product owners loved it. They're like, I'm up for it, man. This is great. I can get you all the answers and be done in like 5 minutes. I mean, they really enjoyed the Three Amigo process. Okay, so here's a special one. So tell us something that about yourself that's not in your LinkedIn profile. So share with us something about yourself that's not in LinkedIn, not on your resume, that we should ask you about when we meet you.
It's another tricky question. What's not there in my LinkedIn profile? Okay, it doesn't say when I got married.
What makes you who you are, right?
No, my LinkedIn profile doesn't talk about of course, it's a professional network, and of course, we cannot talk about some personal things. Says that's not there in the profile is when I got married 20 years back, and I have 2 kids. Doesn't talk about it, and both of them are in the college right now. And yeah, of course, in fact, I am the person who'd like to travel a lot. In fact, I like, of course, on every weekends, I don't stay at home. I'll be roaming around across Bangalore. I really want to explore myself, going out. So yeah, that's one of the things which is not there in my resume. So I'm a travel freak actually. Let me tell you.
Okay, you're a travel freak.
Not be at home all the time. Travel freak.
So tell us something, and now that this is my pop-up question. So tell us something in Bangalore that you've traveled to that if anybody ever visited Bangalore and never been there, that they should go see.
A lot more places. See, it's of course Bangalore is becoming now a cosmopolitan city, and of
Okay.
course it's really close to Bangalore. I would say a place like Mysore, which is a good place to see, and of course a lot of tourists will do visit Mysore, which is one of the ancient cities of India. And plus, there are a lot of nearby places like some hill stations that they can visit.
Okay.
Particularly in Bangalore, I think it's lost right now because a lot more people coming in from different places in different countries. So not that much places to see, but of course there are some big museums and parks that they can visit too during their free time.
So you like your free time just to explore the world, right? So that's cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview with us and share some of your wisdom and your exploration of the Agile mindset with listeners of the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. And just remind everybody, ring the bell. You'll get notices
Sure.
when we get interviews like that. And, thank you very much. And thank you.
Thank you so much, and thanks for your time. Of course, you're talking to me on Sunday morning, of course, Sunday evening for us, and it's really good. I really had a good experience talking to you, and of course, some of the questions that you asked for me, I think probably I'll try to use those questions for in case if I'm interviewing some of us other Scrum Masters as well, and try to understand from their perspective as well.
Cool. Great.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
We'll catch up later.
Yeah.